deadlines, scholarships, and also opportunities for you to become an ambassador. And then, of course, hopefully, after all of this, I mean, if you haven't covered your questions, then we'll definitely hopefully have some time for Q&A. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so first off, the University of Sheffield. Let me take you to a fantastic Russell Group university. If you're not familiar with the term Russell Group, I always compare it in the US to Ivy League universities. Russell Group universities is a group of 24 leading university. They're leading the academics, the teaching within the UK, but also globally. Now, the university has unique different rankings, of course, according to what rankings you're checking in as well. They, for example, they're top 10 most targeted UK university by top employers. Now, this is, of course, something that is going to be really, really crucial for you, because why are you doing the degree? To have that end result and be competitive in market for your job applications. They have also an immense alumni network that is not just within the UK, but that also reaches globally, because they have a strong international student body. So we'll have opportunities for you to connect with top employers, but not just in the UK, but also overseas. They're ranked 18th in the UK, so they're always consistently top 20 within the UK. Go to the next slide, please. They also have 6 Nobel Prize winners in the field of chemistry, medicine, and physiology. They are 104th in the world. This is the QS ranking that a lot of you will probably familiar with. One thing that I want to point out in all of these rankings as well is that they are consistently #1 in the UK for the Students' Union. And for anyone who's not familiar with the Student Union is actually a big part of your university life. The Student Union is building the university, the student community. This is where you have any interest that you might have during your studies next to your academics, or maybe any career prospects that you're thinking of, any interest in a specific career field that you want to get more insights in. Those societies are very likely to exist. If they don't exist, you can make them happen on your own. Just to give you a little bit of an example. So for computer science, for example, we have a lot of students that are interested in cybersecurity and artificial intelligence, robotics. So beyond just your classes and your academics, there will be a society, a group of students that is interested to seek out, okay, what employers are actually hiring within that? What networking can I do to gain more insights and maybe connect, build my network out there? So other interests might be, every UK university has a Harry Potter society, for example. So that's more of like a hobby next to your studies, is not related to your studies, but it's just something for you to kind of balance your study and your life, which is really, really crucial, especially when you're attending a Russell Group university, one of the top 20 in the UK. You want to ensure that you have a little bit of an outlet next to your studies as well, just to be balancing that out more. So being ranked #1 in the Student Union, where all of the universities have all very strong student unions, is a really massive compliment to the student community that you will be part of once you're starting at the University of Sheffield. Okay, next slide, please. And here are just some top 10 out of 11 categories that are always awarded and are judged by verified students from all across the UK. And so they're voting on student union, clubs and societies, teaching quality, best UK university, career services, and so forth. So you have the whole list over here. And this is just a snapshot where Sheffield always comes out on top. So really crucial for yourself. Of course, there are always the QS ranking, the Times Higher ranking, but it's also really important for you to know what students are actually saying. Students that are in your shoes right now, they're studying already in the UK, various different university locations, and the students from the University of Sheffield have always ranked these really, really highly. So it's just a good reference point for you and a good perspective for you to have for the student satisfaction that you're experiencing when you're attending the university. Next slide, please. And just about careers and employability. So one strong suit about the universities as well is soft skills. I cannot ever stress this enough. Besides your academic, you have to understand that there's going to be a lot of graduates from Master Group universities, a lot of graduates from the University of Sheffield that are also going to be strong academically, just like you. So how are you going to really set yourself apart when you're trying to score that interview, you're trying to score that job? You're doing that by developing your soft skills. And one thing that the university is really strong in is giving you all of the tools to build up on your soft skills while you're going through your studies. We start with that already at the college, where we're also doing some soft skill development, but then really you're focusing on that in the university by doing internships. You can do a placement year. There's a lot of opportunities to add an extra year where you're getting work experience that typically in your undergrad happens in your third year. On postgraduate level, you can usually extend it to 2 years, and then you have a 12 months work placement within that as well. You have real life research projects where you're going to be working not just with your group of classmates, but you're going to be working across faculties. So you're going to get different perspectives as well from students. And these soft skills built through teamwork, communication skills, your strengths and your weaknesses. I mean, how many times have you heard an employer asking you, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? This is an opportunity while you're doing your studies to figure out, well, what does actually suit me? What do I actually want to go for? So when you're going into the interview, you're also confident enough to look for what you want in an employer and what you're seeking out and what fits for you as well. Interviews are always going both ways, but most students don't actually understand that. So figuring this out, getting all of those tools and those guidance through the university already helps our graduates from the university be so successful with top employers around the world. Next slide, please. And these are just some QR codes for virtual campus tours. The campus is massive. It's all over across the city. The International College is also close by to some of the campus parts. But what I would recommend for you to do, really familiarize yourself, and I mean, Alex is just going to take it away in a second, is going to talk about the location a little bit more. But what I would advise you is just scan some of these QR codes, have a look at the campus tour, have some virtual tours of the buildings. Some of the buildings are really unique, have a lot of new developments and new tools for students as well to just always keep going with the time. For example, they have 3D printers in the Diamond building, those type of things you don't necessarily find out, you know, in those info sessions. But if you're doing a campus tour yourself, you see all of those facilities that they have, laboratories, etc., that you'll be working in when you're studying at the university. So definitely have a look at those campus tours. And I believe, next slide, I'll hand it over to Alex.
Thank you. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about Sheffield, what the city's like, what it involves, and what it would be like to live here as a student. So Sheffield would be your university city. So we would expect students to live within the area of Sheffield or just on the outside, but you would need to be able to commute into the centre where the Sheffield University is based. So Sheffield is a big city, and it's home to many forward-thinking innovators, especially coming from the university. We are independently creative, so there's a lot of creative quarters, and we also pioneering world changers. So again, Sheffield is on the map globally. You may have heard of it, you may have not, but it is definitely a place that you will get to know if you're a student here. So if you look at the map to the left-hand side of the screen, you can see Sheffield is pretty much bang in the middle of the UK, which is absolutely fantastic in terms of location, because if you would like to go away for the weekend to London, for example, it's only a couple of hours on the train. Or if you want to go to Manchester or Leeds, they're both about an hour each on the train. Or if you want to go up to Edinburgh, it's about 3 or 4 hours. So you've got absolutely a massive opportunity to travel across the UK being in Sheffield. So obviously you would spend a lot of time here, but you've also got that opportunity to sort of travel wherever you want with easy access as well. So you can see on the bottom some estimated times. Again, nothing is too much of a distance, so you will get an opportunity to travel if you want to. And also, if you want to follow the link at the bottom there, there's a student guide too. Okay, thank you. Um, so Sheffield, it is full of surprises. So when you get here, it is very culturally and community based. So you would generally find people in Sheffield have got a quite tight knit or are very close. So a lot of people from Sheffield know each other or know areas or know other people. And that sort of rolls over to the university. So again, the university also has very tight-knit communities. Everyone knows everyone, everyone helps everyone, and it's generally very friendly. So a lot of people who come to Sheffield think that people who live here, whether that's students, staff, um, the people who are born here, are really friendly and accommodating. So people would generally always want to help you as much as they can and guide you through your time here. So I am actually from Sheffield and I've lived quite a lot of different places. But one of the main things you will find when you've been here is sort of the greenery in the parks and the national parks as well, located around Sheffield. So I think Sheffield is named the greenest city in the UK. Yes, it is, as you can see on the right. So 60% of the green space. Um, and it's generally just really, really nice for walking, outdoor activities, visiting places, whether that's in the summer or the winter. Again, the place is very beautiful and there's so many places to visit, whether that's walkable from your accommodation or whether you travel a little bit, there's places to see all the time. Um, there's a lot of different food halls. So, in terms of food and dining, you probably can get every cuisine I can think of, or pretty much. We do have places which are designed just for food, so they're called food halls. So you'd go in there and there's so many different cuisines and some different places to sit with your friends and visit like that. So if you're wanting to try different foods and drinks, again, Sheffield is a fantastic place to do so. For those of you who like shopping as well, we have a massive shopping centre that is just outside of town called Meadow Hall. This is one of the largest shopping malls in the UK and it has about 190 stores. You can travel there very easily. I think it's about 20 minutes on a tram or you can get the bus. Um, and there's literally every shop you can think of in Meadow Hall. Um, Music. So again, for the music lovers, there's many, many live music venues in Sheffield, big or small. So there's some intimate venues in the city centre, and there's some large venues sort of out of the centre as well. So again, for whatever kind of music taste you're into, there'll be something for you. There's also a festival that is located in Sheffield called Tramlines, which is specific to Sheffield. This is out of town, only slightly, but it has music artists that come from all over the world, and people travel from all over from the UK. So Sheffield gets really busy during this time. I think it's the end of July. And it's just a great part to be a part of. There's music all over the city. There's parades. There's things like that. So again, Sheffield is really, really vibing along this time. And finally, for this slide, in terms of culture, there's lots of art exhibitions and galleries. So, for example, on here we've got Millennium Galleries and Crucible. So, Crucible Theatre is quite unique. So, it is where the world champions of snooker play, that people obviously watch from all over the world. So again, and the Millennium Galleries is an art-based center. So again, something completely different, but something that you might enjoy being here in Sheffield. And there's another guide on the bottom as well on the screen. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. So to bring things together, I think this is from last year. So these are some of the things that the students from last year said they liked about Sheffield that we might put this in this nice graphic for you. So I'm just going to pick a few out. So what people like to say. So food, as I was saying, food is the big one in the middle, which everyone likes eating. And there's a lot of variety of food in Sheffield. The scenery, the environment, beautiful air. Again, a lot of this is related to outdoors. Again, like I said, it's so good to explore and visit. Um, a lot of parks, Sheffield football. So there's two football teams in Sheffield for football lovers, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. Hillside. So yes, there's a lot of hills in Sheffield, but you will get a lot of exercise walking around. Um, and again, the library, safe. Again, like I said, it's a friendly city. There's so many more things that you can pick out on there. Um, so again, it is a very, very exciting time and it's a very good place to live. Okay, thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the last one from me until before I pass over to Diana. But I just wanted to give you sort of a rough estimation and an idea of how much you may spend living in Sheffield. So these are averages from 2022. So these may have changed slightly, but this is a kind of an idea of how much you will spend on certain things. So, for example, roughly an accommodation per month, so where you would be living, your home, would be about £610. Obviously, this may fluctuate depending on the type of accommodation you get and whereabouts you stay in Sheffield, but this is sort of a rough estimation of how much it would cost. Your groceries would be about £72 as well. Again, as I said, it depends where you shop and what you buy, but this is sort of a rough estimation. So this would be your food, your drinks, your cleaning products, things like that, things you would need every week to sort of live your life in your accommodation. Socializing as well. So we roughly estimated about £46. This is for things like meeting your friends, you maybe go to the cinema, you may go for some food. So this is roughly, obviously, this would depend how social you are. You may want to be very, very social, so you may spend over this limit. You may not want to be less so you may not spend as much. Obviously, it depends on the person, but this is sort of a rough idea. And finally, travel. So we've roughly estimated £47. However, if you do live in the Sheffield Centre, you can generally walk most places. So you'd be able to walk to campus, you'd be able to walk into the centre, you'd be able to walk to the cinema, things like that. So this may be a lot lower. However, as I mentioned before, if you're wanting to travel to another city, you would have to pay for the train fee, which would be about this, depending on where you traveled in the UK. So again, that one may sort of fluctuate depending how much you travel, if you travel, or if you just stay on campus or in the centre. So again, these are just sort of rough estimation, but you can see how much roughly you may be spending your time here. Okay, that's it from me. So thank you guys, and I'm going to pass you over to Diana now.
Thank you, Alex. Hi everyone again. So this is a really interesting slide because I love the pictures of the college because I've got it behind me, but I've also got it on the bottom right. USIC, this acronym, we use it because it's the short version from the University of Sheffield International College. So it's a little bit shorter. But yeah, the building is very spacious and we can accommodate over 1,000 students. We've had them in the past, we have them now, and looking forward to have you in the college as well. And we have a lot of classrooms and also a big lecture theatre which can accommodate can take up to 80 people. So that means when we have information sessions, when we have guest lectures, or just a tutorial for the students, we can invite more students. But we also have degrees. We have over 300 degrees available for all the students, and the dedicated staff who offer support and advice in order for you or for all the students coming here to have a successful progression to the University of Sheffield. The curriculum has been developed in collaboration with the university staff. So that means that all the modules that you will be studying here are relevant for the degree that you will be studying at the university. So we don't have modules, or we don't teach you modules that are not relevant. It's in partnership with the University of Sheffield staff. So we know it's a different culture and education system, so this has been taken into consideration when building the bespoke curriculum. And we have most of our students go to the University of Sheffield, and the progression rate is quite high. So 90% of the students continue with their studies at the University of Sheffield. It's a really, as it has been mentioned at the beginning of the session, it's a really good university. So obviously the requirements are a little bit higher. However, we've got dedicated staff who can support you, but it's all about you as well, asking the support. If you're struggling with something, you can just let us know, and we will get in touch to see or to plan what you will need in order to progress, because that's why we are here, to support you continuously and throughout the whole academic year. And yeah, that's all for this slide. And what to expect. To make the most of the student experiences, the classes have around 20 students or no more than 25 in order to focus on quality, and the tutors can offer support and attention to the entire class. If we would have more than that, there would not be that much quality. So we thought about all these details. You will also be assigned a personal tutor while you're at the college, who will know you, who will know your strengths, your weaknesses, and can offer suggestions and support. And of course, in the one-to-one meetings with your personal tutor, academic advisor, you will have opportunity to ask questions, because the academic advisor will know you, what if you're struggling again with something, will know the background a little bit better, so we'll have to identify a plan. How can we support you? But this is a very dedicated one-to-one session for the students, and it's not all about study. We organize a variety of social events and activities throughout the year, and we want everyone to feel welcomed here, and also create that special bond, and take the mind off from the classes or the exams or an assessment coming up. Obviously, we do want you to meet all the deadlines, but this picture on the third picture, for example, is from the International Food Day, where everyone had the opportunity to taste some recipes, food from different countries, showcase the traditional costumes, and why not share some traditions and cultures, because we're always interested in this kind of things. It's going to be a big variety of students from all over the world. So yeah, I look after these student ambassadors here at the college, and I can say that it's a great opportunity to get involved into these extracurricular activities, and it's a great opportunity to enhance your CV, language skills, and make new friends and acquaintances. And yeah, as I just mentioned earlier, we know that you are coming into a different culture, and a few things might be slightly different. But here at the college, we have a dedicated welfare team who can support students with physical, mental well-being, and private appointments are offered for each student. Obviously, not everyone will need to be in meetings about welfare, but if you are needed, this service is available for all the students. Next slide, please. the Big Sheffield welcome. This is one of my favorite parts of the student journey, as we get the chance to meet you all and greet you while stepping into your UK student life here in the UK. Our dedicated team is putting a great effort in welcome you all from the moment you confirm your place. And obviously, you start with a welcome pack, registration, support, and guidance. We offer induction activities. There's a very big schedule that is being put together here at the college in order for you to feel welcome. So we do definitely look forward to welcome all the students, and some pictures. We've got some pictures here from the airport. We will definitely be there if you register, if you sign up for this package, because we will be there. We will welcome you with big signs. So yeah, and then we've got again student ambassadors volunteering for all these activities as well. So yeah, we're all here to welcome you into Sheffield, Big Sheffield welcome. And I think that's all from me. Thank you. I'll pass you on to.
1 second, I'm just having some technical issues here.
It's all right.
Is Michaela in the dark all of a sudden?
She might be, but I think
Yeah.
she's gonna be back.
Yes,
She's
I am back.
All right.
Apologies.
No worries.
Hello. Our November starters, so those of you who are beginning their course in November have already heard from me about our accommodation. We are offering rooms in a university managed accommodation, which is St. Vincent's Place. Many of our students choose to stay there. All the rooms are en suite. There's fully furnished kitchen in each of the flats. The kitchen is shared, but you will, of course, have your own private room with private bathroom. There are desks, study spaces. The rooms have plenty of storage as well, so it's a really good standard. It's a very safe and well-maintained residence. There is a cinema room, games rooms, some social spaces. Most of those kind of common areas are located in a converted church, which is a really cool place. It's a very nice atmosphere to it, very unique. The residence is located around a 5-minute walk from the college. It's literally just around the corner. So it is very convenient to stay there. We do have quite a few questions what we had in the past about single gender flats. So our under 18 students will be automatically allocated to a single gender flat with other under 18 students, just so that you can feel safe and secure. If you are over 18, you will have an option to choose a single gender flat if you wish, but this will be subject to availability, as it's not always an option if those rooms get sold out quickly. I am the point of contact for accommodation. There is an email address at the bottom of the slide. So any questions you have about that, I will be happy to answer. I will just mention here that for the January intake, January 8th, we have not yet begun inviting you to apply for a room, but this will happen very, very soon. And please rest assured that there are still plenty of rooms available, so you will have a chance to book a room. Next slide, please. And yeah, there are plenty of other facilities available on site. There are laundry facilities, CCTV, maintenance team, bike storage. As I mentioned, there is also a cinema room, games room, and there will also be a residence life mentor that you will be able to reach out to if you are having you know, just some doubts or maybe some issues with settling into the life in the UK, which is quite helpful to know that there is such an option. I will also mention that the rooms are single occupancy and they are located in a cluster flats, and each flat is composed of 8 rooms. So you will be sharing, you're most likely sharing a room with 7 other international college students. And please do not travel to the UK before securing your accommodation. We did have a few students in the past who arrived, and it's just quite stressful to be sorting out your accommodation after you've arrived and be staying in a hotel room. And we just want you to have a good start into your course, so please book accommodation before arriving within 60-minute distance if you do not wish to stay in St. Vincent's Place. It must be within 60-minute distance. And next slide, please. And we also aware that some of you might be coming with parents, and we know that the parents will not be able to stay with you in student accommodation. That's not allowed. But we do have like an agreement with a nearby hotel that's also just around the corner. It's a Hilton hotel, and your parents will be able to stay there with a 15% discount. There is a discount code that is visible on this slide now, but you will receive the presentation slides after this event. So you don't have to, write it down now. You will be able to see it later. They will just have to input the code on the website, and then the discounted rates will be visible to them, and they will be able to complete the booking. This will be very helpful, as I say, some of you might be wanting to come with parents, so it's a good option to keep in mind that there is something like this available. And yeah, just as I said, if you have any questions, just email Central Student Support and I will be there to help. And I will hand over to Natasha, I believe, now.
Yes, back to me. Thanks so much, Michaela.
No worries.
Yeah, just to clarify as well, with that discount, I mean, that's the college has managed to arrange that for your parents. And it's not just for when you're arriving at the college, it's also all year long. So if the parents are coming to visit, you can recommend the Hampton Sheffield to them, which I think is fantastic. So it's just another example of how the college is always trying to make it even more accommodating for you, for obviously your situation being alone, abroad for the first time, parents being in another country coming to visit, that they have an option as well to take advantage of a little bit cheaper discounts for you for visiting you at the college. So well done to the college as well to getting this organized, and definitely something you should take advantage of. All right, sorry, we're going to the November induction. Just wanted to quickly add that. So from now on, there's going to be a lot of information thrown at you. So do not worry. Again, Michaela mentioned it as well. You're going to get the slides. I had a question popping up in the Q&A box as well about this. You will get the slides, and you will also get the recording afterwards. So you have a chance to just go through it all on your own time. So November start, that is actually around the corner. 27th of November is the start date. It is not an academic intake. It is a longer induction period. It's a 3 weeks induction period, and then you're joining the January cohort for your academics, may it be the pre-master program or the international foundation year. The really, really nice thing about the 3 weeks induction is that all of your stress to jump straight away into your academics falls away. You pretty much have an opportunity to come to Sheffield earlier than January, settle in, get to know the area, get to know your future classmates for January, but also meet the classmates that have already started in September. Settle in your accommodation, get bits and bobs that you probably need to settle in, and familiarize yourself. Take advantage of the lovely Christmas period in Sheffield as well, or across the UK. As you saw, Sheffield is like right in the middle, so you have it just really quickly to Manchester, you have it really quickly to London. Those cities are amazing during the Christmas holidays, with all of the decoration, all of the Christmas markets that are taking place. So just really see this as an opportunity to have a fun way of getting already involved with the college, getting prepared and ready to go with your academics in January. So it's 3 weeks, 27th of November start date. You're finishing on the 15th of December, and then you're joining the academic cohort in the beginning of January. The applications are processed exactly the same. If you applied for January, you can certainly ask if there's still a possibility for you to join November. If you have not submitted an application, then you can just submit an application for the November intake. It's exactly the same process. Confirmation process is exactly the same as for September or for January. It's just another opportunity for you to get to Sheffield even sooner and faster. Next slide, please. So we actually have a testimonial here. This student from Myanmar, she joined the November intake last year. So last year is actually when we had the first time the November intake. And we really just thought like, wow, the induction period for September, January is just so brief. It's 1 week. And there's a lot of information. You need to open a bank account, you know, get your residency card sorted, get your address sorted, and all of these things. There's a lot to do in 1 week. And so students really enjoyed that they have like a 3 weeks time period to get these things sorted, have the support from the college. You will see a lot of Diana, you will see a lot of Alex in there as well during that time, just supporting you through some logistics, settling in. So the student here started at the college as well in Sheffield, and she really had just positive feedback on that. She really enjoyed that longer induction period, and so did the college as well. So the college really enjoyed having time for the 3 weeks to get to know you before you're jumping on your academics and obviously having to focus on that. As Diana said, you're progressing to Russell Group University, to a top 20 UK university. Of course, you know, they're going to ask from you a lot for your academics. But with the support, with attending your classes all the time, there should be no issue for you to have successful progression to the university. But of course, it takes effort on your part as well. So it's kind of nice that you have like a longer induction, settle in, and then start with your academics in January. So some of the benefits are, you know, that you're feeling more prepared, you enhancing your communication skills because you're already settling in, you know, and obviously working on your English because you're already in an English speaking environment. You assess your digital skills proficiency. If you know you're planning to settle in, get a laptop maybe in the UK because yours is outdated, you want to get a new one, this is all time that you have then in the UK to get those things sorted. You can also get really sorted on the virtual learning platform, which is also part then of your induction period to really familiarize yourself with that platform. This is something you will do in those 3 weeks then as well. You feel part of the community. Again, you're meeting the September students, but you're also going to meet your other classmates that are starting with you in November. And of course, just familiarize yourself and adapt to life in the UK. So really just only win-win with the November intake. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're going through your next steps. In case you have not confirmed your place yet, it is crucial that you submit all of your relevant documents. We're getting close to CAS deadlines and visa application deadlines. And so you just need to ensure that you have all of your relevant documents, you're meeting all of your conditions, you're making all of your outstanding payments. You have the payment plan in your offer letter. So just make sure that you're paying all the fees that are due before you're getting your CAS, which is your sponsorship letter for the student visa. Make sure that is all in order. Make sure that you have your English proficiency and all of this already submitted. Once you have an unconditional enrollment letter, you have your CAS, then you can go towards the visa application. The visa processing time will depend on your country of residence where you're applying for your visa. Some take longer than 14 days. I think they always say like 10 working days is the norm. But we have also experienced some delays to 3 or 4 weeks. And that can always be like different circumstances. So just ensure that you're leaving enough time. If you have your CAS already, make sure you're applying for your visa right away. Do not wait, do not prolong anything. On that visa, you can arrive up to 30 days before the official intake date in the UK, but just make sure that you have accommodation sorted. Michaela is your contact person. So you actually have an email address for anything before you're arriving in the UK. It's USIC. So as Diana mentioned earlier, we're kind of abbreviating the long name that we have for the college. USIC stands for University of Sheffield International College. So if you remember USIC and then .css, that stands for Central Student Support, usic.css@studygroup.com. They can help you with anything really related accommodation, but they can also help you with transportation, anything in and around your logistics to coming to Sheffield. They're happy to help and they're your contact people. So Michaela will be the one coordinating with you and offering you also the student accommodation. I always recommend student accommodation for your pathway because you're not familiar with Sheffield yet, and just to have also a little bit of a community outside of your classroom. If you are searching for your own accommodation, sometimes students tend to feel isolated just because they're not connected to the students also outside of the classroom. So just be mindful of that. And plus, if you kind of have the pressure away from searching your own accommodation and just take student accommodation, you're set for that first year. And then when you familiarize yourself with Sheffield, then you can choose your own, right? Maybe meet some classmates and find some shared opportunities. But in the beginning, especially St. Vincent's, it's just such a fantastic opportunity because it's just around the corner from the college, and the pictures really didn't do it justice. It's a fantastic, fantastic facility. I've been there myself. It's just great because there's also a lot of outlets for students then to just come together. There's a student life residence person as well that just organizes some events to get you all together out of your rooms, you know, and just building like a proper community outside of the college. So it's really nice and just a really good part of embracing it, because when you're moving abroad, it's really, really tough on you, right? You cannot underestimate that moving abroad is a little bit of a challenge because you have to readjust. You're coming out of your comfort zone. You don't have your family support system. So having that support system in your accommodation within the college does such a massive difference. So just, yeah, that's always kind of like just a small recommendation from my side. But of course, you can always liaise with Michaela and find out all of your accommodation options. Next slide, please. So here's a snapshot of CAS deadlines that you have to be very much aware of for the November start date. So as you can see here, some of them are actually coming up already end of this week. Some of them are coming up for next week, and they are categorized by the duration of visa processing time that we have found out from the UKVI in your country. Now, if there is anything that you know that there is priority visa service that we're not familiar with, or that visa processing time is now reduced and you can actually get it in a much shorter time than anticipated, then reach out to us, advise us. If you have confirmed your placement with an agency, go to the agent, inform them so that we can maybe show some flexibility with any of these CAS deadlines. But pretty much with these CAS deadlines, this is your final date to receive your CAS, and you need the CAS in order to do your visa application. So just make sure that you're getting CAS ready by at least 2 days beforehand so that you can give the admissions team time to turn around and actually issue the CAS for you. Okay, so just keep those in mind. Again, we're going to be sending this across, so you will have this according to the country of residence where you're applying from, so you have this as a reference point. Next slide, please. And these are the CAS deadlines for the January start. If you're thinking to join us in January instead of November, then there are different CAS deadlines. You have a little bit more time, but that's not to say that it is not advisable to do this already. You do not always have to wait for the final deadline to come along for you to get CAS ready. Start getting CAS ready already. But here are some deadlines. The first deadlines will start at the beginning of December, and the last deadline will be just before the Christmas break. Please bear in mind, during Christmas, there will be breaks. Even the UKVI won't be processing anything anymore. That's the 25th of December, and I think not the 31st, but obviously 1st of January. So in between the 25th of December and the 31st of December, there's going to be slower processing time. Okay, so just be mindful of that and definitely get CAS ready way ahead of time and submit your visa application way before the official Christmas season, Christmas period starts. That's typically a week before the 24th, 25th, and then the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve. Next slide, please. So this is just quickly a reference point for your Welcome Hub. If you have confirmed your placement already, you should have been receiving a Welcome Hub link. This will be sent to your email address and the email address that you used to submit your application. Just make sure if you change your email address for communication, that you're also checking the email address that you gave to your agent or you submitted yourself with the application. We will send you the Welcome Hub there. It also sometimes can end up in the spam folder, so just check your spam junk folder for that Welcome Hub link, because this is really your reference points. Everything you need to know will be on this Welcome Hub link. Your pre-registration form, which is mandatory to fill in and to send back to the Central Student Support Team. Your induction pack will be in there. Your pre-arrival event, again, attendance is must and it's virtual, so there is no reason for you not to join. You will have a pre-arrival guide, and you will have very very important emergency contact information. If you arrive in the UK, something goes wrong with pickup, transportation, you have an emergency contact details that you can contact, will guide you directly to the college, and they will hopefully be able to assist you. So just really important to note all of this down. So just remember one thing, Welcome Hub, look for that once you've confirmed your place. Next slide, please. And then just once you've received your CAS, of course, apply for your visa, secure your accommodation, pay any required fees that are due before you're joining the campus for the official intake date, book your travel, complete the pre-registration form. Again, that is mandatory. Make sure your passport is valid for more than 6 months from the official intake date. So 27th of November plus 6 months. If that's not, then already extend your passport before you're asking us for the CAS. If you have to change the passport number before you're submitting your visa, it's just a delay in processing. So what I would recommend, if you're worried, if you're not sure if this is really suitable, if it's maybe just about 6 months, if you question it, get a new passport. It's always the safer option. And do that before you get the CAS so we can use the new passport number for your CAS document. And then last but not least, transportation as well. Of course, most of the students are flying into Manchester. So just make sure that you have sorted out your transportation to Sheffield, trains, taxis, etc. Anything is possible. Just reach out to the Central Student Support Team to give you some guidance on those options as well. Okay, next slide. Just really quickly mentioning of scholarships, we have scholarships available not just for your pathway program, which is foundation or the pre-master program, but we also have progression scholarships for you available, which is worth up to 2,500, 3,000, depending on where you're progressing to. For the undergrad, it's towards each year of your undergrad, so the 3 or 4 years, and it's not applicable to any very highly competitive programs such as architecture. So just be mindful that there are some exceptions to these scholarships. And if you have any questions to scholarships or how to get the scholarship, then feel free to put any questions in the Q&A or reach out to us afterwards. We're happy to help with that. And then last but not least, we have available online meetings with the staff. Oh, actually, I know there's also ambassadors coming in. I'm mindful of times, lots to still cover. If you want to speak to the college because you want to find out a little bit more about, like Alex said, about the location, the safety, maybe a little bit about the student support, the tutoring support, academic support, you can arrange a 15-minute chat with the college, face-to-face, virtually, of course, but you can chat with them. It's a fantastic opportunity for your parents as well to get engaged. So take that opportunity to get to know the college even beforehand and to meet some of the team. You can speak to the center director, but you can speak to the head of progression. You can speak to academics as well if you're a little bit concerned about some specifics in your course. They are there to help answering any questions or concerns you have before joining the intake in November or January. Next slide, please. So quickly on student ambassadors, you have the opportunity to join us as a global student ambassador. And that would really entail that you're getting involved in writing blogs or create videos, join events, social media takeover. So this is pretty much an opportunity, like an extracurricular activity, as I always like to phrase it. This is an opportunity for you to get engaged with the whole college community and really bring the student voice to other future students that are planning to join the pathway programs. It's a fantastic opportunity for you to build on your soft skills that we had discussed earlier, for your employability skills. But it's also an opportunity to gather references for people that you're working with, to get a reference on your LinkedIn. So there's definitely some opportunity for you extracurricular to, outside of your academics, to really highlight on your CV all of the other activities that you're getting engaged in on the side. And really, we just want to hear how you're doing on your studies. What do you think about Sheffield? What would you advise future students to look out for when they are traveling to Sheffield? Those kind of things, you know, we want to hear from you. How are you doing? How are you getting on with the academic support? How are you getting on with the progression team? Those kind of things are just things that we want to hear. So your day to day, and it's just really great to hear the student voice because you're here now as well. I'm sure it's really beneficial for you if you're hearing the perspective of students. Next slide, please. So one thing that we have not added in this is just that we also have for you, because we don't have a student ambassador right now on this call, we also have students on the TAP platform. This is a platform that we have on our college website. I don't know if you've come across this already. So if you want to, at the moment, reach out to a student to hear a little bit of a student perspective, go on our website for the University of Sheffield International College. You will see a window popping up, chat to ambassadors, and those ambassadors, those students have actually progressed already to the university. By now they should be in their second year of their studies for their undergrad, and they can talk to you about the experience at the college. They can talk to you about the experience right now at the university. It's a chat function. You can create really quickly a profile, and then you just ask a question by chat, and they're really quick in responding as well. Of course, they cannot answer any questions admissions related, but anything else to their experience, they're more than happy to get back to you on that. So if you're looking still for that student perspective, feel free to use that TAP platform and the student ambassador voice. Okay, we're coming to the final part of the section, and this is now the Q&A. What about the period between the 15th of December and January? This is actually where you're just enjoying the UK. This is the time that you're using to really settle in, to familiarize yourself with Sheffield, with the surroundings. You can take trips to London, you can take trips to Manchester, close by. This is what I meant, where you can really experience the lovely Christmas period time. I know many of you might not be, observing that holiday, but it is still nice environment, nice atmosphere over here in the UK during the Christmas period. So believe me, you will really, really enjoy being part of that, especially if you're coming to the UK for the first time. So there's nothing planned between the 15th of December and your start of the January. You can also go home if you like that, or your family can come to the UK and spend the Christmas or the winter break with you. It's up to you. You can create that yourself. When is the deadline for accepting the offer for the January intake? So the offer within the CAS deadline, usually 2 weeks before is the application deadline. So let's say it's the 1st of December is your CAS deadline, 2 weeks before is the application deadline, and a week before is the confirmation deadline. Again, if you applied with an agent, they have all of those deadlines. Make sure that you're liaising with them very closely and that they inform you of the final date. If you're planning to submit your application yourself, I recommend to do that right away. We have a lot of courses at Sheffield that are also with limited capacity, meaning that once we reach capacity, there is no more opportunity to still join the course. Those are affected our business degrees, but also architecture, for example. Those are really popular courses at the university, and so we do reach capacity there quite quickly. So you just be mindful of that and submit your applications. You're now in this webinar. If you're interested, submit an application. Do not wait until the final deadline. If I'm starting on 27th of November, when I should arrive in what date? You should be there on the 27th of November to register at the college. But you can be in the UK beforehand, but it really depends on your accommodation, if I'm honest. If you have sorted, if you're planning to take student accommodation, as I understand from Michaela, you are still waiting the allocation for your student accommodation, so you have to hold on to that. And then it really depends when you're starting your contract, because you don't want to come to the UK without sorted accommodation, right? So it depends a little bit on you, but you should definitely be in the UK to register at the college on the 27th of November. On the day arriving at Sheffield International College, what time should I arrive? Oh, Diana, can you talk a little bit more about that? Because don't they get registration slots assigned?
I believe that's what I was going to go for. Yes, they do. Once you let us know when you arrive, you will be sent emails, email confirmation when you can come to reception to register. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, because I think you know more about the registration. You will be given all the information in the email.
Yeah, I think once you arrive and we've got all your arrival details, as you mentioned, this will be processed, and then you'll be invited to a slot where you will register in terms of compliance. So you'll bring your passport, we'll go through your documents, things like that. But don't worry about that specifically now. Just remember to arrive before the week, as we will communicate further once we've got the particular time for you once you arrive.
And don't forget that you're also going to be still joining a pre-arrival induction session, and that will also give you a lot more details on when they're expecting you exactly. But yes, they have a very nice setup at the college because there's a lot of students arriving each intake. So in order to just minimize your waiting time to register, you're going to get a specific time slot, which is really nice way of just organizing the whole flow of registration on the day. When is the orientation date for January intake? It's the second week in January. Diana, am I not mistaken? It's already the 8th for Sheffield, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
The 8th, yeah.
Oh, I was looking at
It
the
is.
calendar. Yes, it is.
It's the 8th of January is the first day of induction. Yeah. So you still, even if you joined in November, you still be joining the January induction the first week. So if you're already in the UK, there's no reason for you to miss it. It's because you're meeting all of your classmates from the January intake. So very, very important for you to join on the 8th of January. How many hours? I like that question. How many hours per day would you recommend to study to pass the pathway program and progress to the master's degree? I love that question because I know you have already the right mindset and know that you also have to do part of self-studies. You're going to have, during the November induction, you're going to have 15 contact hours during your 3 weeks. But then when it comes to the academics in January, you're going to have up to 20 hours. Now, that's not a lot if you think of, your whole week. So there's going to be an element of your self-studies. And your self-studies is really depending on how much you pick up during your classes. Your academic tutors are there to help you. If you need extra support, you need an extra couple more hours, they are there to help you and to assist you with that. So there's no real limitation. I cannot really advise that because it also depends on your level, on how quickly you pick up things. Obviously, it's in a new language for you as well, so there might be some difficulties. I would say, though, that full-time students, typically between 15 and 20 hours is self-studies during the week as well. Because you're full-time students, you kind of have to anticipate those 40 hours that you would later face in a work week as well. But if you're really quickly and picking this up, might just be 10 hours or so, 5 hours. Maybe during exam week, it will be a little bit more.
Can I just add to that? It's a really good question, and I love these kind of questions because the students that once they get to the university, they will have a session with time management and everything with self-studies, because it's not also very good to study for 5 hours in a row for the same module. You will have to split that. So we will give you a few more sessions on how to be very proactive in self-studying and to make the most of it. But yeah, very good question.
There's one question, Michaela, for you that you probably have more information on. Is living on campus more affordable than living on my own?
It really depends where you want to live. The big advantage of living on campus is that the weekly price is set and it will not fluctuate. It's £152 per week, if I'm not wrong. The bills are all included, so you do not have to worry about any additional fees that come on top of that. So I think living on campus would be financially beneficial, because if you rent from, for example, a private landlord, the bills may be a bit higher. They're usually not included in the rent. So I would say that living on campus could be quite beneficial, but it just depends on where you want to live and what kind of facilities you have in mind. But as it has been mentioned earlier, St. Vincent's is a really cool place to stay. Lots of our lots of our international college students have already booked a place. There will be over 200 that have booked already. So yeah, I believe this is a good choice.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michaela. It is very difficult from our point of view to say that as well, because, as Michaela said, it's advantages and disadvantages with both. Just be mindful if you want to sign up your own, you need an national guarantor, and not a lot of students actually have that. There is a little bit more flexibility. Michaela, correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes it's more international guarantors that they do with student accommodation. So there are differences as well. Just be cautious with that, because, you know, signing off your rent here and signing for an apartment yourself, unless you're, you know, renting a room within flatmates, but then again, you don't know the people and you're coming overseas, might not be really recommended. So student accommodation, that's why I said it's always recommended, even if it maybe makes out to be a little bit more. It's even more if you're ending up in the worst accommodation, you don't want to be there, and then you're financially tied to it, and but you're trying to stay somewhere else because you cannot, you know, really, you don't like it where you are. So maybe if it seems like a little bit larger amount at the moment for student accommodation, might actually be still better at the end if you're taking all of the risk factors with choosing your own. So just, yeah, be mindful of that.
I will just add to that, so sorry, Natasha, that if you decide to rent a room in with a different accommodation provider or just from a private landlord, our support will be very limited, as we do not have any kind of contracts or agreements with different accommodation providers. So if there are any issues, our support with, for example, some more of like technical issues will be very limited, as we do not know, we're not aware of those processes with different providers. So we do strongly recommend staying with our university accommodation, just so that you can get some extra support from us as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, no, 100%. And there were some questions in the Q&A box now as well that I don't think I understand. The first one with your travels. I mean, Hoyan Chan, I'm really happy that you found this presentation really, really useful. And I hope you have all the information. If you want to be in January, you can always, on the visa allows you to go to the UK on your student visa up to 30 days before your official intake date. But of course, you need to make sure that you have accommodation for that time period. And I would just recommend that you sort out your accommodation first, get that agreement in place. And sometimes these agreements cannot start before maybe the weekend before your official intake date. So sometimes students are limited to only join the weekend before the intake starts. Be mindful of that. Sort out all of the logistics, and then it will give you the answer of when you can be in the UK or what makes sense for you, in order not to be financially burdened just coming to the UK and then having no place to put your luggage, etc. Sort out your accommodation, write that tenancy agreement, and then you have your date of the earliest you can be in the UK. That makes the most sense. CAS will be issued and turn around if you request it now within 48 hours. If it's longer than that, do reach out to your representative so you can chase it. The CAS deadlines are just a reference point for you. Beyond the CAS deadline, we will not be issuing CAS anymore. So if the CAS deadline is passed, we cannot request any more CAS for the November or for the January intake. So this is, I just put it as a reference point, not for you to think that we're only issuing the CAS on that date. There were loads of other questions, and I love all of these questions that are coming in. It's really great to hear from all of you. And honestly, I think Alex and Diana are already excited to meet most of you as well. There were some questions about progression stats for this year, because we had still the reference for 2022. This year is fairly the same, with the progression success as well that we have seen for the September 2023 cohort. But because they're finishing in August, it takes a lot of time for us, you know, to put this all in place and have the final figures. But it is, again, around the 90%. And for PMP, it's actually always a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a lot of tremendous academic support on the pre-master level that, you know, you're set up for success to progress into the postgraduate degrees. Okay, so any questions that we have not answered, we will take away. And when we're sending around the recording and the slides, we will also answer those questions as we go, because it might affect also others of you that have not posted the question. All right. So thank you so much for being here. It was great to hear from all of you, and we're very much looking forward to welcoming you soon in Sheffield. All right. Have a great day.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.